A briefing today by Defense Department officials to certain select members of Congress about Donald Trump blowing up boats in the Caribbean. I want to read a little bit of an article here, and then there are some things I'd like to discuss. Defense Department officials do not know precisely who they have killed in multiple military strikes against alleged drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean that have claimed the lives of at least 57 people. The meeting with members of the House Armed Services Committee, which comes amid bipartisan requests from members of Congress for more legal justification for the deadly strikes, was conducted by department policy officials but no military lawyers, who were pulled from the briefing shortly before it started. Gee, how convenient. Lawmakers at the briefing said they were not given an explanation for the change and were left frustrated over the lack of clarity on the justifications for the military actions. Quote, the department officials said that they do not need to positively identify individuals on these vessels to do the strikes. They just need to prove a connection to smuggling. When we tried to get more information, we did not get satisfactory answers. This from Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. Now, let's just stop here for a minute. So there's this planned briefing to members of Congress about Trump just blowing up these boats in the Caribbean and killing at least 57 people. And just before the meeting started, the Defense Department lawyers said, nah, we're not going to be part of this briefing. We've got other things to do. I don't believe for a second that they were called away on any sort of urgent business. This was the plan for DOD lawyers not to be present. And the reason is because these DOD lawyers know full well that there is no legal or constitutional justification for these killings. They are illegal. And what do we call an illegal killing? Well, we have a word for that. It's called murder. And that's what's going on in the Caribbean. These are murders. These are war crimes. Let me read a little more. American military forces have conducted at least 14 strikes against boats believed to be smuggling narcotics over the last 2 months, according to information released by the Defense Department. Administration officials have said military intervention is needed to help stem the flow of illegal drugs into America, but Representative Jason Crow said Thursday's briefing gave him little confidence that the new approach is making a significant difference in that fight. Frankly, that's irrelevant. Whether or not these strikes are effective in stemming the flow of drugs to the United States is completely irrelevant. The important fact here is that there is no legal or constitutional authority for the president to order these strikes. There are only 2 circumstances under which a president may order the use of lethal force like this. The first is if there was an authorization from Congress. There isn't. The second is if the president must use lethal force to defend the country against an imminent threat, a clear and present danger that is imminent and that is so serious that it requires the use of military force. And there cannot be any time to go to Congress. It has to be such an urgent situation that the president has no time to go to Congress to seek authorization. In that limited circumstance, a president is authorized to act in the immediate defense of the country with lethal force. That is certainly not the case here either. Blowing up small boats 1,000 miles from American coastline that Donald Trump says carries drug smugglers. That can in no way be reasonably argued to be a clear and present danger to the United States, so significant that lethal force must be used, and that it is so imminent that he cannot go to Congress. So neither circumstance that would allow the president, that would give the president legal authority to use lethal force in this way. Neither one of those circumstances is present here. This is therefore both illegal and unconstitutional. As I said, it is a war crime. And if it wasn't bad enough, if it wasn't illegal enough, if it wasn't unconstitutional enough for the president to blow these boats up without any legal justification, without any authorization from Congress, he's now also talking about taking it further, about using the military against Venezuela directly. He said he's going to take it to the land, or in whatever incoherent way he phrased it. He said we were going to strike inside Venezuela. That is an act of war. Okay, there's no two ways about it. That is an act of war. That requires congressional authorization. Or, as I said, it must be necessary to defend the United States against a clear and present danger for which there is no other choice but to use deadly force, and in which there is no time to seek authorization from Congress. Obviously, that's not the case here. The guy who said he was going to be the peace president, the man who says he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, the guy who promised not to get the United States involved in any foreign wars of any kind, is now talking about getting us involved in an illegal war with Venezuela. If we weren't living in such a dysfunctional republic at this moment in time, the impeachment proceedings to remove this criminal from office would have already begun. But since Congress no longer functions as a co-equal and independent branch of government, because it is controlled by Donald Trump's personality cult, of course, that's not going to happen. So Donald Trump continues to shred the rule of law and the Constitution, which is the very foundation of the legal system of this republic. It is being destroyed right before our eyes, and the Republican Party is letting it happen.